All right, I had done a lot of talking today, so I'm going to make this fairly short. Brett Cooper is back officially. She has produced and released the first episode of the Brett Cooper Show on her YouTube channel at B Brett Cooper or Brett Cooper. Um, I watched it. I watched it while it was premiering. Yes. Just because I'm on Team Reagan doesn't mean I am not going to watch Brett's stuff. Because I really want to know how it is. And some takeaways and some things to mention. I'd say go watch it. It's going to be an absolutely huge video on YouTube regardless because it's the first episode of her channel and her trailer hit number 3 on trending. So this one's going to be huge, believe me. There was like 60,000 people on the premiere when I was watching it. So first things first, now that this is out, I don't want to see any more hate in the Reagan comment section because guess what? Brett's moved on and she's being so successful and Reagan's doing so bad. Why do you care anymore? Go watch successful Brett, okay? Yeah, no more dunking on Reagan, okay? Done. I don't want to see it. I'm going to be angry. Second, super ironically. Okay, timeline. Brett Cooper announces she's leaving. Reagan takes over. They wait a week, and then they start putting out Reagan episodes. The episodes are about twice as long, and they are fewer in between. You know, instead of 2 every day, it's now 1 every day and a half, 1 every day, every 2 days. And the topics are less gossipy and a little more important, and Reagan's takes are, again, in my opinion, better and more interesting. But essentially, the channel matured a little bit. It grew a little bit. The producers got microphones for occasional interjections and banter, and it got more interesting and more appealing. And generally, I like it more. Okay, so super funny. That's where the show went. Now, Brett starts her own channel, and the videos are going to be a little longer. Her first episode was like half an hour long. A little longer, and they're going to be a little less frequent, and they're going to be a little deeper, and they're going to be a little less gossipy. She hasn't given her producer a mic, yeah, so kind of funny that Brett leaves the comment section. The comment section changes, and then Brett's new show is kind of like the new comment section. Fewer comment references, a little less content, watching heavy, a little more opinion heavy, which is what people want. Okay, that's good. Like if your host, if your favorite podcaster has good opinions, then you're listening to them for their opinions and not the clips they play on their channel. That's why reaction YouTubers suck. Also, another thing that's really funny is the system, right? Her platform. So she's on YouTube, like the comment section was, but also like the Daily Wire has for all of their shows, there is also Daily Wire Plus, a subscription service that you go on to and you can pay money to get extra content and early access to things and all sorts of extra goodies that you wouldn't get on YouTube or couldn't get on YouTube because YouTube would censor it. So Daily Wire has that. Brett Cooper was benefiting from that. That brings in a lot of money. First thing, very early in her episode, she announces Cooper Confidential. Okay, a subscription-based service for extra bits and early access to stuff, which is so funny because Brett realized that YouTube was only part of the system, okay? The comment section could have 4 million subscribers. I guess now has 3.98 something million subscribers. Kind of an L. But you can have a lot of subscribers, but if you don't convert those subscribers into money, especially in videos that YouTube isn't going to monetize very heavily, or at all in some cases, then you need to generate your revenue somewhere else. And Brett realized that the Daily Wire Plus was actually a pretty good system for making money. Okay, over 1 million users. They're each paying, I don't know how much a month or a year. That's a lot of money you're bringing in, okay? And that's where all the money comes from. So immediately starts off with a subscription service. Obviously, if you have a very loyal audience, then they will pay for her whatever. And so I don't think she's going to be hurting for money in the near future because a lot of people are going to sign up for this right off the hop. Couldn't help but notice it's not channel memberships. So she did, in the end, start her own system, her own thing. I can't remember what site it's through, but whatever platform it is. But so got away from a channel that matured and changed just after she left and had a very robust subscription service on the back end to a new channel with most of the same followers and a hopefully very robust subscription service on the back end, not to mention her sponsors. Yes, she had not one, but two sponsors on this first video, which for a half-hour show, kind of fair, having a couple sponsor segments. The first one was Good Ranchers. I didn't realize this, but Good Ranchers, I guess, went with Brett. I'm a little surprised, but because they still advertise with every other Daily Wire host, but I guess Good Ranchers wanted Brett, and they canceled Reagan, even though most other advertisers seem to stay with Daily Wire, Reagan, Brett, whoever, just as long as it's bringing in money, be it Armra, Amalo, who knows what. The other sponsor is Jordan Peterson's Peterson Academy, which is super interesting that the former Daily Wire and still current Daily Wire sponsor goes to sponsor, and then the Daily Wire contractor hosts, I'm not sure how that agreement works, Jordan Peterson is also advertising on her show. So Brett even is she can't get away from the Daily Wire. Okay, as much as she may or may not want to, there is Daily Wire money going to her. So actually, maybe the Peterson Academy is a separate, like fully separate books and everything, and maybe Jordan doesn't put his own money into it. If that's the case, then that's the case. But yeah, so she can't get far. Of course, a lot of people, I'm sure, are joint Reagan and Brett viewers, which entirely fair, okay? Brett has a long time to go until they get the production value up to what it was, or maybe they won't even want to get it up to what it was because they want to try something different. She can't be sitting in her house recording forever because that's your house and you don't necessarily want to work from your house if you don't have to. Like if it's just in your living room, you're going to want to get out of there pretty quick. Which is why I do it in an office. Ooh, home office. But regardless, yeah, first episode of the Brett Cooper Show. You could give it a watch. It was fairly interesting. She was talking about something that I've mentioned before in comments, and I think I've mentioned it in episodes before otherwise as well. But Brett Cooper was talking about conservative cancel culture and this weird tendency that conservatives have of just viciously turning on each other for the dumbest reasons. Like people, I'm going to start talking about it now because why the frick not? She mentions this comedian who CNN had on for their New Year's Eve broadcast, and she was just ripping them and Democrats to shreds. And it was funny, I'll be honest, like a funny woman. Awesome. I mean, that's a joke. That's a joke. Women can be funny, too. The funniest woman I know is a woman. I didn't even think about that when I said it. Anyways, but is this real thing where she was like kind of starting to make more conservative jokes, and then people went back and they found out she was totally pro-vax during COVID, and people were like, "Oh, you'll never be a real conservative," blah 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 blah. Or we see again with Tulsi Gabbard, and people are like, "Oh, Tulsi Gabbard, she may be part of Trump's coalition, but she's always a Democrat." Well, yeah, she was a Democrat, and she probably holds some Democrat values still, but you know what? She's advancing the agenda that you want, and she's helping the president that you want. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? And conservatives, we don't really know how to let go. And I mentioned it was a comment on a community post by Misha Petrov, which is just the most random place. And it might be hopefully in an upcoming video because I need that exposure, baby. And I was basically saying like, yeah, people will just totally bite the heads off of other conservatives if they don't agree exactly what they say. And I'm in a Discord server, and there's a lot of conservative people and a lot of libertarians, and they're like, "Oh, you don't think about this exact thing about supporting Israel? Well, then you're just in bed with Israel, and you're lame, and you suck." And it's like, dude, who cares? You have zero power in the government. Your opinion is just as worthless as mine, okay? And there's just lots of stuff like that. And we see it a little bit from liberals. I'm not too deep into liberal circles. I don't really know how often they do this. I know it happens, but it happens more than we realize with conservatives as well. And we'll cancel other conservatives for really stupid reasons. And we'll cancel new conservatives for really stupid reasons. It's like, people, they are coming to conservatism. That is a good thing. We want people to embrace traditional godly values, and instead you're turning on them because they think differently about you on this one really, really, really stupid thing. Like, conservatives, we don't seem to understand that you can take small wins. Like, a lot of people, especially during the election when Trump was kind of like iffy and wasn't being super clear on his stance on abortion, they were like, oh, Trump, oh, we can't vote for him anymore because he doesn't agree exactly with me on abortion. But it's like, even so, if you have a system with, say you're in a state like California or Colorado, and it's like just the most loose abortion laws, and then this guy comes up leading your local state government, and he's like, hey, we're going to restrict it to 6 months. Let's say, okay, after 6 months, you can't have an abortion, but for the first 6 months, you can, and you're sitting there, you're like, well, that's not a total abortion ban. So I disagree, and you're dumb, and I'm never going to vote for you. It's like, no, take the small win. Okay, you don't have to be super sad about feeling, I guess, morally compromised, because it's better than nothing, right? It is a small victory. So glad to see Brett Cooper's back. That's my 2 cents on conservative cancel culture and what I call loud conservatives. Benny Johnson is one of them. He's kind of annoying. Anyways, thanks for listening. Subscribe to me and the comment section with Reagan Conrad and Brett Cooper. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.